Hey you. The challenge didn't really call for all this, but it felt appropriate. Hello everybody, today we're going to be analyzing the Runway from Next in Fashion Season 2, Episode 3. The theme for today's Runway is entitled Thrifting, Upcycling. I forget what's the word that they used for it. We're going to call it upcycling. KK? Let's get to it. The theme, thrifting, upcycling. It's a very popular theme these days. I feel like with the popularization of TikTok, a lot of upcycling and thrifting content has become extremely popular and extremely mainstream. And I think it's something that we've recognized on the runways as well. A lot of these garments are being made with upcycled materials or recycled materials, which essentially does mean a different thing. Recycling means that you're taking the bare bones of that fabric's fiber content, stripping it down to its fiber content, and turning it into something new. Upcycling means we are taking an existing garment and turning it into a different garment, or bringing new life into it, reinventing it. There's a lot of ways to do it. Some people cut and sew, some people just tie up. I always think about how upcycling has been a thing ever since the early 2000s. I remember being in middle school and a bunch of the girls in my middle school would cut up and knot up and tie up a bunch of their t-shirts, turning them into something new, getting unique fits, getting unique cuts out of it. Really, really fun and exciting. I definitely wish I would have done it as well in high school, but we weren't secure. Moving on. So this theme is a fun theme. It really shows how a designer can look at a garment and reimagine it. It's really, really fun, really inventive. If you have a local thrift store, I encourage you to do it. It's great. It's a way to get really unique custom clothing for not that much money. My thoughts on this theme. The theme is fun. It's exciting. It's interesting. Do I think it's played out? A little bit. I think we've seen an oversaturation of upcycling content thanks to TikTok. Everybody who's a fashion TikToker realistically goes to thrift stores, upcycles, and reimagines new things. There's even entire brands that revolve around upcycling older garments. There's a fly in my room and it's bothering me. I think it's something that every aspiring designer should learn how to do. Learn how to take a garment and reimagine it, or change the fit, change the cut. It's really, really good practice for altering. It's really good practice for just creativity and learning how to design new things. Plus, it kind of helps with all this waste that's being thrown into landfills. There's a bunch of pretty decent material all over thrift stores that you could reimagine into amazing garments. I even remember fellow classmates of mine, when they couldn't get their hands on muslin, which is a fabric that we use to create test fits for sewing samples, would use sheets that they would get from thrift stores. It'd be a few dollars, and they would create entire test fits out of old blankets. It's a really good example of upcycling materials that you can find in so many different places. Even upcycling things that were given to you from family members that either don't fit you or you want to reimagine. My experience with this. So I have a lot of experience with upcycling. So I have a couple of besties of mine that had a brand by the name of Escape, and their entire thing was upcycling garments from the thrift store, whether that be through reverse dyeing, tie dyeing, cut and sews. It was very, very fun. They even made a few tote bags out of old t-shirts. So that was one of the first examples of upcycling that I was given. Another experience I had is, what was it? 2022? Oh, so last year. I applied for a scholarship where we had to create garments and submit photos for them. I created 2 looks entirely upcycled from materials. I created a dress entirely made out of bandanas, and I created another look entirely made out of men's blazers and men's ties. These looks kind of exemplify my ideal version of upcycling. Reimagining either the cut like I did with these blazers to fit a woman. I basically made a dress out of them and an over vest. I binded the edges with the leftover material of the ties, which ended up tying the entire look together. I don't make the jokes, I just make them. And then I ended up creating a skirt made out of ties, which I actually previously wore on this channel in my Alexander McQueen analysis video. If you're curious about that, you should go watch it. But I wore it as a top. See how amazing things can be when you make them? You can use them for multiple things, not just what they're made for. But I made it into a skirt to create this sort of tie fringe. That's my experience with upcycling. I'd say I've got a good idea of what it means to take an old garment and reimagine it. So without further ado, let's get into this runway, shall we? The guest for this runway is Emma Chamberlain. I don't know how I feel about that. I know she definitely, in her community, popularized thrifting, and that's great, but I wouldn't necessarily consider her an upcycling queen. I wish I would have brought in people who literally upcycle garments. That's my only complaint. But other than that, Emma looks adorable. She does. I can't deny it. She's cute. Also, I want to try her coffee. She has like instant iced coffee, and that sounds fucking amazing. Emma Chamberlain coffee. Okay, so we're gonna start off the runway. Who starts the runway? Oh wait, they really started strong, didn't they? Oh wait, is it because Nigel finished first? First up on the runway is Nigel. Nigel created a very fun look. In my opinion, this doesn't even look upcycled. This looks intentional. And there's a part of me that's like, that's cool, but I wish that it looked a little more rough around the edges. There's something about upcycling that I like when you can definitely tell that things are put together in really unique, weird ways. I feel like I've seen all these garments in this upcycled manner. I do still think it's an amazing look. I just feel like it could have been pushed further, the design elements of it. Because realistically, all he did was patchwork a bunch of different pieces of garments. My microphone fell. So, like I was saying, Nigel's look is amazing. No discredit to that. It's put well together. It's perfectly styled. I just personally believe that it looks like something that exists already. And that to me does not scream next in fashion. I don't personally feel any innovation. He created a mixed material jacket, a mixed material pant, and a mixed material jersey. I feel like all those things exist already in this day and space. With streetwear becoming extremely popularized in the last few years, there's a lot of very, very interesting streetwear elements going around the entire globe. And I feel like this isn't a good example of innovation in streetwear. All he really did was fabric block for a bunch of pieces, and while the color combinations are really stunning, and I do enjoy the look, I do think it needed to be pushed further. I don't think it screams next in fashion. I think it screams now in fashion. Up next we have Megan. Now Megan's look was actually very, very fun, very, very cute, very much to her identity. I do agree with the judges. It does feel a little juvenile, and there is something fun and innovative happening. I completely disagree with the remark that it looks like it was like a hodgepodge, that it looked crafty, that everything was thrown together, because to me, everything looked very, very planned. I do wish the colors meshed a little better together, because it does feel a little everything everywhere all at once. Slay. But I do think it's a very cute look. That skirt is stunning, and I do like the top. I just don't like the two together. I think this is a lot of idea. What is it? Too many cooks, not enough kitchen type situation. There's a lot of fun ideas, but I don't think the end result meshed well together. I do think that it's a very fun and imaginative look. Megan has this way of creating these sort of Wonderlandian creations that really get you thinking about what belongs on the runway and the really fun moments. Oh, my tie is crooked. What really fun moments belong on the runway and all these cuteness. I think she's the only person in this season that brings a sense of cute, soft femininity to it. Very cutesy looks, and I really enjoy that, genuinely. Again, I just wish the color combinations were a little bit complimentary. Up next is Godoy, and Godoy did this badass, sexy, deconstructed denim look. And it's really fun. It's really interesting, really cute. I like the draping of the different waistbands, and I like the draping of the sides. They made a comment that they wish the cutouts were fitted. I think that wouldn't have given the skirt this uniqueness that it had. All this draping that was happening with the different elements, I think really helped bring your eye to different vocal points, and there was a nice flow to it. Do I think it's next in fashion? No, not particularly. But to make this in 4 hours, oh, did I even mention that they had to make this look in 4 hours? That's insane. If they want good looks, they should give them more time. That's all I'm saying. Up next we have Bao, and to me this was extremely unsuccessful. In my opinion, the colors felt a little matronly, and the bra with the cutout on top I did not enjoy. I know they used all these different knits and crochets, but to me it looks like someone tried creating crochet or macrame The Little Mermaid, Little Miss Ariel, and I did not enjoy it whatsoever. I've really enjoyed Bao this season so far in the first 2 episodes, and this one really, really let me down. I just was not getting all the fantasy that I needed from this look. Who's next? Up next we have Eliana. Ooh, my hat's falling. Eliana, in my opinion, looks the way that they were saying Megan's looked. Eliana looks crafty. Eliana's definitely looks like it was just thrown together. She saw denim, she saw this floral, and she put them together. And I don't think it was successful. I didn't even need the troll hair that she put in the hair, but it's my favorite part of the look. Didn't need it, but it's my favorite part. There's something good happening with that cascade in the back, but the front of it just isn't it. It just is a little weird. The sleeves sit a little weird. The bodice sits a little weird. I think the most successful thing that Eliana created was this skirt in the back. I think this train, this little tail, I think is very, very pretty. The cascade is nice. But above all else, I don't enjoy the rest of the look. I think she really needed to rein in her idea. And I even think how much more successful this would be if it was all in denim. I don't like that floral. Maybe I'm being picky because I don't like that floral, but I just don't think that floral and that denim make a pretty combination. Up next, we have Kayshawn. And Kayshawn's wasn't as terrible as I think they made it out to be. There was something interesting about that top and something interesting about the pants. I think they definitely fumbled a little bit. Essentially, halfway through, completely deciding to redesign something entirely new with that wedding dress. And there's something fun about that peplum. I just don't like what's above the peplum. The way that the waist sort of bands like that, I think is extremely unsuccessful. And I don't really like the asymmetry on that top like that. I love asymmetry, but it doesn't look intentional. It looks like a mistake. And I think that's something that us as designers sometimes will design something or illustrate or sew something, and it's just a little bit off, and we don't realize it because it's intentional for us. But for people examining it and consuming it, they'll be like, oh, this looks like a mistake. And it sometimes isn't always believable if you say it was intentional. But I do like the cut of the pant. The legs of the pant are nice. And I see what they were doing with the top. I just don't think anything in between meshed well together. And I think if they would have stuck with this idea from the beginning and really fleshed it out, they would have had a very, very impressive garment to showcase on the runway. Up next, we have Desiree. And Desiree has my favorite model. I remember him from Project Runway, but that's irrelevant. This look to me is like Nigel's little brother. I'm so sorry. But it feels like the idea of like what Nigel brings to the runway, but Desiree's patchworking isn't as successful as Nigel's. Nigel's definitely has a flow to it and asymmetry to it. Desiree's definitely feels like she created garments just entirely patchworking them. And I think that isn't entirely the name of the game, especially in a show like Next in Fashion, where the theme of the entire show, the overarching theme, is what's next in fashion. Where's the innovation? I saw no innovation in this. To me, it's her weakest runway so far, and I hope she steps it up for the next future episodes, because I genuinely do think she's an amazing designer. I just think that this was just okay. Up next, we have Amari. Amari's was cute. Just cute, in my opinion. I can see Emma Chamberlain in it, which is probably why she liked it. But to me, this exists already. It's fun what she made it out of. That corset's made out of the jacket, and then the bust part is the hood, and the skirt being done in the denim with the slight patchworking. They're cute pieces. I just don't see innovation. I don't see next in. I don't see anything unique happening. To me, all these are garments that exist already. All it feels like everyone did was patchworking. And cute, fun, but the theme was upcycling. And if all we're doing is patchworking, are any of these looks really next in fashion? Speaking of patchworking, we have James up next. And I actually don't even know if this is patchworking, but it looks like it. It's a bunch of this, it's this quilting, which is actually really cute. I like this ensemble. I just don't think it's next in fashion. I think it's very lackluster. I think it's just okay. And I think I sound like I'm repeating myself, but I genuinely am, I feel a little let down this episode because 4 out of the, I think what, 4 or 5 of these looks so far feel a little lackluster. They feel like they're not really pushing creativity or pushing the envelope. And I think that the looks are successful, but they're not creative or fun or really pushing the envelope. That's just my opinion, at least. Next, we have DeAndre. Now, DeAndre really redeemed himself from last episode. DeAndre let me down with that freaking plant runway. But this is what I am talking about. Creating a skirt out of these jeans, this big full skirt, and this half hoodie with these denim pockets creating this bustier. I think it's so fun, it's so innovative, it's so unique. It's streetwear meets runway. It's amazing. There's glamour, there's drama, there's intensity, there's fun happening here. I think DeAndre was the most successful, and I think he should have been the sole winner of this episode. Sorry, Nigel. Okay, so when I thought about this challenge, I instantly thought about what I wanted to reconstruct and redesign. And my favorite thing to do when it comes to upcycling is taking men's clothing and reimagining them. So I immediately wanted to do something with men's woven shirts, like the ones I'm wearing, and ties. Ties are something I love. I own a lot of ties. A lot of ties. And I sort of wanted to create the men's opposite version of a women's wear look that I did for a scholarship I applied for last year, which I'll put here. I don't have any video of me creating it, but it is really fun. I did a whole photo shoot for it. But I really love reimagining ties and woven shirts. So I thought it'd be really fun and interesting to create a pant that looked like the collar of a shirt around the waist. So where it secures, I wanted it to have a collar coming around the waist of it, sort of creating a faux peplum, but not sticking out a lot. Just sort of creating an interesting shape. And I wanted a wide leg pant because I do think men that are taller with longer legs look really fascinating and interesting with a wide leg pant. And I wanted these pants to sort of open up at the sides because I wanted to deconstruct a shirt and the different pieces that shirts have and put it together to create this pant. So I wanted the chest pockets to exist. I wanted the plackets to exist. I wanted plackets running down the sides with buttons that could open up and create this opening flared pant, if you will. And I wanted to mix the materials. I wanted to keep the color palette white and blue, where look I kept the color palette black and red. So I wanted to really do the antithesis of this all. Sort of a juxtaposition, if you will, which I don't think is juxtaposition, but we're gonna go with it. So that's the bottom half of this look. I definitely, if I was there, I would try to find as many woven shirts with different prints to really make a bunch of print clashing happening. For the top is where I really wanted to have some fun and design here. Like I mentioned earlier, I created this skirt out of ties and created a sort of faux tie fringe. I wanted to do that with the top. So I started with illustrating a sort of lattice, I think is the word, where they sort of cross into each other and binding each other. I love this idea of sort of men's tie shibari and this sort of bodice being creative out of these ties being woven together and sort of also creating like a little skirt around the bottom of the pant that eventually cascaded into all these ties, creating this tie fringe. I really wanted this to sort of be this juxtaposition of menswear and sort of men being tied up in their own clothing. I think that a lot of men in society are pressured to be masculine and pressured to sort of be this perfect idea of even like businessmen, you know, very suit and tie. Originally, one of the key ideas that I had for this, I wanted to sort of play around with that idea of masculinity and making a more feminine look with traditionally masculine garments. I was going to also create like a jacket for this, but I decided not to. I love the idea of just this bare arm, these ties creating this fringe skirt and this wide leg pant. I think it was very successful. I very much enjoyed the look, and I actually can't wait to create this look in real life when I do get a chance to, because I think it'd be really, really fun. I think it'd be really, really impactful, and I think it'd be, shit, I think it'd slay. Final thoughts. Final thought time. It's time for my final thoughts. Overall, I thought this theme was extremely fun. I think it's a common theme. I don't think this is a unique concept by any means. I am, like I said, a little let down by the lack of imagination I feel on this runway theme. I definitely feel like a lot of the looks could have been pushed further. This is next in fashion, after all. Where is the next in part? Overall, I think my top looks would have to be DeAndre absolutely being my number one look. Nigel having an amazing look, even though I have been overly critical over his patchworking aesthetic. I do think he did create an amazing look, and it did warrant that win, in my opinion. Even though there's a part of me that wishes DeAndre went on his own, I do think they both deserve that amazing high ranking. And then third, Godoy. I thought Godoy did amazing. I liked the little dress number. Sure, it wasn't anything innovative, but I do like the one material. I like the draping. It felt like there was really thought of design happening there. And I thought that was successful. Having said that, I'm going to go. I'm tired. And I really, really want to go get some Starbucks. Ooh, I want Starbucks. Anyways, I'm losing my mind, so I'm going to go. If you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my shorts where I'm putting every single illustration, and follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of me, my art, or just psychobabble that I end up doing on my story. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this inspired you to create some looks, whether it is physically going to your thrift store and thrifting and upcycling those garments, or just illustrating what you would do for this challenge. It's a lot of fun to really wrap your brain around what you would do if you were met with this challenge. It's a really good practice for young designers especially, to really find a way to diversify your designing know-how, your skill set. It's really fun, and I think that it can really inspire you, sort of figuring an idea of how to rework an old garment, whether it just be conceptually or physically. Said that, I'm gonna go. I'll see you next week. The next episode theme is actually really, really interesting. Childhood. Really interesting concept. Really unique in my opinion. I'm not sure if I'm entirely ready for that, but let's go. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!